Welcome to the Politics News Wolf US channel. In response to the attacks of Moscow, Ukrainian army launched a comprehensive operation in the Belgorod region. The logistics centers and supply routes of Russian army on the Eastern Front are being destroyed one by one. A large number of Russian soldiers contacted Ukrainian army to surrender. Trench warfare intensified again. Russians want to attack Ukrainian positions with drone. However, air defense systems sent to Ukraine drove Putin crazy as a result of a mistake made by Russian soldiers. The defense line on the Eastern Front was broken. The Russians lost more than 800 soldiers in 24 hours. As the conflicts continued, another blow came from Greece to Putin. Moscow threatened Greece. The tension is increasing with every passing second. Aid to Ukraine drove Putin. In the Belgorod region located on the eastern border, 6 explosions were heard in a row at noon. Russian air defense systems in the region were activated. It was announced that the Ukrainian army attacked with 6 missiles. According to the published videos, 2 of the 6 missiles launched by Ukraine were destroyed by the air defense systems in the region. However, the 4 missiles that survived air defense systems destroyed the Russian industrial facilities in the. As a result of the attacks, the military industry and infrastructure facilities in the region were severely damaged. According to the first statements, 1 infrastructure facility and 3 armored vehicle repair centers became unusable as a result of the attacks. In addition, 7 construction equipment and 1 ammunition depot exploded. As a result of the violence of the explosions, Ukrainian army responded harshly to Moscow's missile attacks in the morning. However, the intensity of the battle increased in Bakhmut on the eastern. The sounds of clashes continue to be heard for 24 hours in the Donetsk and Luhansk regions. In the last 24 hours, the Russians carried out 30 air and 7 missile attacks on infrastructure facilities, especially the cities of Kosti, Tynica, and Lark. More than 70 attacks also took place with multiple rocket launcher systems. Russian troops used Iranian-made 13 Sha-136 UAVs once to attack Kharkov's energy infrastructure. However, Ukrainian defense units stopped most of the attacks. 11 of these UAVs were shot down by Ukrainian Air Force units, continuing offensive operations on the Bakhmut and Adika fronts. The Russians are trying to develop their tactical positions on the Lyman front. Ukrainian Air Force carried out 17 air strikes on the areas where Russian forces are concentrated, and 4, on the positions of the anti-aircraft, missile systems, rocket forces and artillery units of Ukrainian armed forces destroyed 5 command posts, 3 Russian military personnel, and a Russian ammunition depot. On the other hand, major clashes took place in the Zaporozhye region. Thanks to the successful Ukrainian operations, Russian army lost a record number of soldiers. Russians lost 3 units of various types of military equipment, a command post, a communication center, and about 230 soldiers in the Tokmak, Tato Cherny, Poi and Bird SCRs. Ukrainian General Staff said that the losses of Russian army vary and a detailed report will be published shortly. As the violence of the conflicts increased, a threat warning came from Russia to Greece. The heavy losses suffered by Russian army and the Kremlin's inability to solve these problems infuriated Putin. Defense systems and military equipment sent by Western countries greatly increased both offensive and defensive capabilities of Ukrainian S-300 plan, which Greece said was disabled. After the radar lock was installed on Turkish jets was met with a harsh reaction from Russia. Greek media have been discussing for a long time buying Patriot from USA and giving the S-300 south from Crete to Ukraine. This issue has become a big agenda in Russia, and Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov made very harsh statements on the subject. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov stated that Greece has no right to transfer S-300s to another country without Moscow's. Evaluating the current issues on the Russian state television Pervy channel, Lavrov also touched upon the possibility of Greece to supply Ukraine with the S-300 air defense system. Lavrov We instructed our ambassador to apply to Greek Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Ministry of Defense and remind them that these systems were delivered to Greece. According to the agreement, Greece has no right to transfer these systems to anyone without our. We reminded the Greeks of this. They said they were paying attention to their commitments. He said, tensions between countries are higher than ever after Russia's statements. Ukrainian intelligence also made very important and detailed statements. The head of Ukrainian Military Intelligence Service, Karol Bob, declared that the war with Russia has reached a stalemate. Budanov. The armies of both countries were unable to advance. After Ukrainian troops captured Kherson. In November, the most violent clashes took place around the city of Bakhmut in the Donetsk SCR in the east of the. Winter conditions did not slow down the advance of Ukrainian army at the front, which stretched for 1,000 kilometers. But Russian army appears to be in a defensive position. Budo said Russia had suffered heavy losses and had entered a complete cold sack. We are waiting for a new mobilization announcement from the Kremlin. We cannot comprehensively defeat the Russians on all fronts. They cannot defeat us. We expect new weapons. However, we have made progress in certain parts of the front line. Russian army continues successful operations on the Eastern Front. He said we started to liberate the region gradually, just like we did. Now it is very difficult for the Russians to hold on to the region. We continue to progress slowly and cautiously. He said. Bud said that Russia's military activity in Belarus was a trap designed to divert Ukraine's attention from the fronts to the north. Following Russia's recent losses, some Ukrainian officials have warned that Moscow could launch a new offensive through Belarus as early as 2023. Experts announced that the attacks could begin in February. At the latest, authorities reported that Russia has started to train tens of thousands of soldiers gathered as part of the mobilization and may launch attacks on Kiev again with these soldiers. However, most of the Russian soldiers sent to the front with mobilization escaped from their trenches or surrendered to Ukrainian army. As you know, after Moscow's declaration of mobilization, the number of casualties of Russian army doubled. Russian soldiers must undergo at least 6 months of training after mobilization. However, the soldiers who join the army are sent directly to the front after a very short. Because Moscow eats a lot of soldiers. The Kremlin wants to solve the problem of soldiers and ammunition on the Eastern Front by including Belarus in the war. Russian President Vladimir Putin's visit to the Belarus capital Minsk this month, for the first time in 3 years, has been interpreted as Russia's attempt to persuade Belarus to join the war. Budanov, on the other hand, said that the Belarus people no longer want to be involved in the war, and that his army of 48,000 people is on. Budanov. We expect these attacks to continue, but due to the decrease in the amount of missiles in the hands of Russia, it has become unable to attack with the same intensity. He also said that air defense systems deployed on Ukrainian soil continue to destroy a large part of Russian missiles. Moscow, on the other hand, wants to continue purchasing unmanned aerial vehicles from Iran due to the shortage of missiles. It is Iran, which has already sharply felt the impact of international sanctions imposed due to its nuclear program, no longer wants to sell any more drones to Russia. The tension is increasing day by day. We'll see what happens in the coming days. We have come to the end of another video. Thanks for watching. Remember to like and subscribe to our channel to update you with daily